In the 90s, the average salary was around $25,000. A house, roughly $120,000, and gas, just over $1 a gallon. You could fill your tank, make your mortgage, and still catch a Friday night movie. Things weren't perfect, but it felt doable, like the American dream still had its boots on. Nothing said, 90s like, "You've got mail." Dial-up screamed through the phone line. You prayed no one picked up the handset, and 20 minutes later, a single JPG crawled across the screen. Old chat rooms felt like outer space, except your mom could still yell, "Dinner's ready." You either drove a Ford Taurus, a Honda Accord, or a Toyota Camry, or knew someone who did. They weren't flashy, but they ran forever. And if you wanted something bigger, the Ford F-150 series or a Chevy pickup was king of the driveway. No screens, no sensors, just a key, a cassette deck, and a lot of miles ahead. Titanic made everyone learn the words. "I'll never let go." 3-hour runtime. Celine Dion on loop and lines around the block. Folks saw it twice, maybe 7 times, just to watch that ship sink in Dolby Stereo. Box office records smashed like an iceberg. Thursday night was must-see TV. You finished chores early, scooped chili dip, and parked yourself for Friends, Seinfeld, and I. If Chandler cracked a good one-liner, the whole country laughed in the same 60 seconds. Streaming didn't exist. You watched live or missed out. Windows 95 turned computers into household play. That rolling cloud startup screen felt like science fiction. Installing it meant 13 floppy disks and a prayer. Once finished, you played solitaire until 2 a.m. because honestly, clicking that bouncing card waterfall never got old. O.J. Simpson's white Bronco stopped the nation. On June 17, 1994, every living room TV flipped to that slow speed chase. Pizza delivery boomed. NBA Finals got a picture-in-picture box, and nobody talked about anything else for weeks. Court TV became America's new soap opera. Y2K felt like the sky was falling. People stocked water, printed bank statements, and wondered if microwaves would rebel at midnight. Then the clock hit 12 o'clock a.m. January 1st, 2000, and nothing happened. We cheered, popped cheap champagne, and blamed the hype on bad code. Capri Sun pouches were hydration and war. Stab the straw just right, victory. Miss and puncture the back, juice explosion. You drank half, smashed it flat, and launched it like a frisbee across the cafeteria. You called radio stations to request songs. You waited and waited and waited. Then your song played 2 hours later. Didn't matter. It was still your victory. And if they said your name on air, you floated for a week. Burning a CD felt like alchemy. You made playlists called Road Trip and carefully chose 18 tracks that told your whole personality. Halfway through, buffering failed. Start over. Still worth it. Pokémon cards turned recess into Wall Street. Holographic Charizard was the crown jewel. Kids traded, battled, and sometimes cried when Mom washed a perfect deck in the jeans pocket. Gotta catch 'em all wasn't a slogan. It was a mission. Laser tag parties were elite. You put on a bulky vest, grabbed a plastic blaster, and ran through dark, foggy rooms like you were in an action movie. Half the equipment didn't work. Someone always cheated. But when your vest lit up with a bullseye, you felt like a legend. T-Rex roared in surround sound. Jurassic Park hit theaters. The water glass trembled. And dinosaurs looked real enough to bite. Kids left convinced every kitchen had a velociraptor hiding behind the fridge. Discmen skipped if you breathed too hard. You held it flat like a serving tray, prayed anti-shock worked, and carried a zip book of burned CDs titled Road Mix 99. Batteries drained faster than you could say, hit repeat. Jordan's Bulls owned the decade. 6 rings, tongue out, fadeaway jumper. You begged for Air Jordans, lowered the driveway hoop to dunk, and yelled, "He's on fire." Like the NB, a jam arcade. Even Grandma knew what a three-peat was. Napster made music feel free, maybe too free. You queued metallic MP3 south overnight, prayed the download didn't stall at 98%, and felt like a pirate king with a 64-megabyte treasure chest. Record labels freaked. Kids shrugged and hit share again. Home Alone turned paint cans into security systems. Kevin outsmarted the wet bandits. And every kid rigged their house with Hot Wheels and Micro Machines. Pizza delivery. You quoted, "Keep the change, you filthy animal," through the mail slot. Pagers beeped like status symbols. Doctors had them first, then teens. 911 meant urgent. 143 meant love. You found the nearest payphone, fed quarters, and pretended you were in a spy movie. People waved on planes. You watched your loved ones walk across the tarmac, waving from the steps like they were in a movie. Airports weren't locked-down fortresses. You could walk to the gate, hug someone goodbye, and actually see the plane take off. It felt personal, like travel meant something. Every calendar came with a kitten, a Corvette, or Garfield. You didn't pick a planner. You picked a personality. You wrote birthdays in pen, holidays in marker, and occasionally peeled off the stickers that came in the back. That thing lived on the fridge all year like a family member. Tamagotchis taught kids about life and death. You fed a digital blob, cleaned its pixel poop, and panicked when it beeped in math class. Forget to check it for 6 hours, tiny tombstone. You cried, restarted, and vowed to be a better parent. Jerry Springer turned daytime TV into a cage match. Chairs flew, security guards flexed, and the audience chanted, "Jerry, Jerry." You pretended it was trash, but you still watched cousin dating scandals while eating SpaghettiOs straight from the can. Crystal Pepsi glowed like science fiction. Clear cola felt edgy, tasted cola-ish, and vanished faster than slap bracelets. You bought one, snapped a photo, and kept the bottle as proof that clear soda was once a thing. Starter jackets made you a walking billboard. Bulls, cowboys, raiders, bright satin with a kangaroo pouch big enough to smuggle a puppy. You wore it in July because style trumped body temperature. If yours had the NBA logo zipper, instant street cred. Super Soaker 50 ruled backyard warfare. Pump 10 times, feel that pressure tank swell, and unleash a river on your unsuspecting brother. Cheap squirt guns died in shame. Neon Super Soakers reigned supreme. Cheat codes were currency. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. That wasn't a pattern. It was survival. You traded codes at recess like they were CIA secrets, unlocking a hidden level in Tony Hawk, legendary status. .com commercials ran during the Super Bowl. Pets, Comsock puppets, smug startups with no profit, and confetti-fueled IPOs. Everyone talked stock options at BBQs. Then the bubble burst, and we went back to real jobs. Jinko jeans could smuggle a sleeping bag. Leg openings wider than some driveways. Chain wallet clanking like dungeon hardware, and pockets deep enough to lose a textbook. Moms hated them. Skaters worshipped them. Walking upstairs, hazardous. Furby lurked on every toy shelf. Big plastic eyes, eerie giggle, and a habit of talking at 3 o'clock a.m. Parents removed batteries. Furby kept talking. You loved it anyway. Or buried it in the closet with the Ouija board. Every store had a gumball machine army. Right at the exit, gumballs, bouncy balls, plastic rings, mystery slime. 1 quarter could change your whole afternoon. The worst part, the clear dome teased you. You knew that 1 blue gumball was stuck in the back, and you'd never get it. Pay at the pump felt futuristic. Slide a card, choose regular unleaded, and never speak to a cashier. You missed the windshield cleanup, but saving 5 minutes on a road trip felt like winning the lottery. Rollerblades replaced bikes for a hot minute. You laced up neon wheels, cranked Ace of Base on a Walkman, and pretended every cul-de-sac was the X Games. Knee pads optional. Elbow scabs guaranteed. The iMac came in candy colors: blueberry, tangerine, lime. You dragged it home by the handle, clicked that round mouse, and connected to the web in style. Suddenly, computers weren't beige. They were bubblegum. You made mixtapes with love and a pencil. Every tape had a theme. Breakup songs, summer jams, that one track where you almost said how you felt. When the tape jammed, you rewound it with a pencil like a surgeon. Play, pause, record. It was half music, half confession. TV commercials were a full volume assault. You'd be watching something calm, then suddenly get blasted with, "But wait, there's more," from some guy selling knives or vacuum bags. The volume always jumped. You didn't mute it. You yelled at it. Half the time the commercial was louder than the show. Everyone tried to surf the web. You clicked links like they were magic portals, waited 3 minutes for a photo to load, and bookmarked every dancing baby GIF. The homepage was Yahoo, and the internet felt like one giant mystery box. Every TV had a built-in hum. You'd walk into a room and hear that faint buzzing from the screen, even if it wasn't showing anything. It was like background radiation for the 90s. You didn't notice it then. But if you heard it today, your brain would time travel instantly. McDonald's had pizza. Yes, pizza. It came in a little box, tasted like cafeteria lunch, and nobody can agree if it was good or terrible. But we all remember trying it once. Some of us still swear it was amazing. Beanie Babies turned grown-ups into treasure hunters. Tiny plush toys with heart-shaped tags got flipped like stocks. People camped outside Hallmark, guarded Princess the Bear like gold, and believed college tuition lived inside a PVC pellet penguin. Spoiler, it didn't. Still fun, though. Your bedroom walls were chaos. Posters of Nirvana, Jordan, Britney, or The Rock. Glow in the dark stars on the ceiling. Maybe some No Fear or Lisa Frank. Your personality wasn't a vibe. It was a floor-to-ceiling collage of adolescence. Remote controls got their own caddy. Living rooms had a special basket or wooden box just to keep track of all the remotes. One for the TV, one for the VCR, another for cable. Lose the wrong one and you were doomed. Dad had a system. Don't mess with the system. Got Milk ads were everywhere. From athletes to aliens, everyone had a milk mustache. You didn't drink more milk, but you definitely thought you looked cool holding a glass and scowling like Shaq. You could win a car by peeling a soda label. Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper. Every bottle cap felt like a scratch-off ticket. You'd get "Please try again" 99 times, but that 100th free drink, baby. You walked out of the store feeling like a millionaire. You rented your tux from the same strip mall where you bought your CDs. Homecoming, prom, wedding, one ill-fitting tux, shiny shoes, and a corsage in the fridge. You prayed it didn't rain and that nobody stepped on the back of your too long pants all night. The Weather Channel had a soundtrack. Smooth jazz played while radar loops danced on screen. Your dad left it on for hours. By age 10, you knew the difference between a cold front and a squall line. By age 12, you secretly loved it too. You had one cabinet full of takeout menus. It was near the phone, usually stuffed with crumpled paper from every local pizza and Chinese place. You knew which menu had the free soda coupon. You knew which one lied about delivery times. No apps, no online orders, just greased paper and a landline. America Online gave you 1,000 free hours. CDs came in the mail, in magazines and cereal boxes. You had enough hours to last a lifetime, but still just used AIM and played checkers with strangers who always quit when they lost. School book fairs were pure happiness. Rolling metal shelves full of goosebumps, animorphs, spy gear, and weird erasers you didn't need. You got $5 from your parents and acted like a billionaire if you left with a poster or two. Peak childhood. The family calendar lived on the fridge. Dry erase or magnetic. It tracked birthdays, sports practice, dentist visits. If your name wasn't on there, you didn't have permission. Kids begged for space just to mark a sleepover. The fridge was the command center, equal parts calendar, to-do list, and proud report card display. Every class had one overhead projector, a plastic sheet, a dry erase marker, and a machine that hummed like a lawnmower. If the teacher forgot to clean it, boom. Last week's math haunted you all period. Shopping malls had entire ecosystems inside. You got lost between Radio Shack and KB toys, followed the smell of pretzels, and sat on those cold metal benches while your mom just ran into Sears real quick. Lunchables were the height of culinary freedom. DIY pizza with plastic cheese, tiny crackers, or a turkey stack taller than a sandwich should be. No heating, no sharing, just elementary school luxury in a yellow box. Milk came in those paper triangle cartons. You pinched it open wrong. Instant milk geyser. Pinched it right. Still tasted slightly like the fridge, but it came with Pizza Fridays, so no complaints. TV static meant the channel was dead. No signal, no guide, just snow and buzzing. You'd flip through 72 channels of fuzz until finally there it was. The Simpsons. You made it. You had to check the answering machine when you got home. A little red light blinked. You hit play. Some calls were important. Some were just your aunt rambling. Some were crank calls. If your crush left a message, you played it twice, then worried your parents heard it. That little blinking light held everything. Every shopping mall had a fountain you threw pennies in for wishes. Some had giant sculptures or random dolphins. The smell of chlorine mixed with pretzels and perfume. If your mall didn't have a fountain, it wasn't a real mall. It was just a sad hallway with stores. Infomercials made you believe anything. Some guy sliced a shoe with a knife and called it cookware. Someone else juiced 12 oranges in 6 seconds. You watched at 2 a.m., suddenly convinced you needed a thigh toner or a miracle mop. If it had a toll-free number, temptation struck. You decorated your desktop with flying toasters. Screensavers weren't just to save screens. They were art. The 3D maze, the pipe screens, the bouncing DVD logo, and yes, those weird flying toasters with wings. Everyone had their favorite, and some people never turned them off. Library cards were your passport. The little paper slip with a barcode held unlimited adventure. You checked out 7 books, never returned 3, and begged your parents to cover the late fees. That beige date stamp machine, most satisfying thunk on earth. MapQuest meant printing 5 pages before a road trip. One wrong turn, too bad. A map didn't update. You'd argue with the passenger, backtrack for 10 miles, and swear this wasn't here last time. But hey, you made it eventually. Watching scrambled cable was an art. Every kid tried to unscramble the forbidden channels by squinting, tilting their head, or adjusting the antenna. You swear you saw a frame of something and bragged to your friends about it like you won the lottery. Gas station coffee meant burnt black sludge. No foam, no flavors, no oat milk, just a stained glass pot that sat there since 6 a.m. You poured it into a styrofoam cup, took a sip, and powered through your morning like a real American. Every remote had a recall button. You'd flip between your show and whatever your parents let you watch. If they walked in, click back to PBS. It was the original tab switching long before browser windows. Chain wallets were cool until they weren't. Metal chain, Velcro flap, $20 inside. Every teen had one clip to their jeans, like they were in a biker gang. Then one day, poof, gone from fashion overnight. But man, they made you feel tough. The cool kid had a Discman. The rest of us still on cassette Walkmans with rewinding headaches. But if someone had anti-skip protection and a visor CD case, that was royalty. Even if their headphones were somehow always broken on one side, you knew someone who had a waterbed. It sounded futuristic until you slept on one. Sloshy, weird, and always slightly cold. But for a moment, it felt like luxury. The kind of thing rich uncles or people with gold bathroom faucets owned. Supermarket tabloids ruled the checkout aisle. Aliens had my baby. That boy escapes again. You never believed it, but you still read it. Right next to gum, beef jerky, and glossy magazines full of 90s celebrities you never hear about now. Recess meant tetherball battles. One pole, one rope, two kids trying to smack the ball into orbit. Your hand turned red. The rules changed every match, and someone always walked away mad. It was brutal. And the best part of the day, fast food came with real toys and real hype. Tiny Barbies, Transformer knockoffs, Muppet babies, and cars. You didn't care about the meal, just the box. Limited time only. You begged to go 3 days in a row. That plastic toy had the power to hijack the entire week's dinner plan. You hit the vending machine just right. If the candy got stuck, you shook, slammed, and kicked the machine with all your might. And when that Snickers finally dropped, it was like finding buried treasure. And if two fell, you didn't tell a soul. Crayola made scented markers, and you sniffed them all. Cherry, lemon, licorice. Every kid picked a favorite. The black one smelled like death, but you sniffed it anyway. Teachers pretended not to notice you getting high on magic markers during art class. It was childhood with fragrance. TV had cliffhangers, real ones. Who shot Mr. Burns? Did Ross say Rachel's name at the altar? You waited months, not hours, for the answer. And if you missed the premiere, too bad. There was no streaming, just pain. You visited Blockbuster like it was church. Friday night, blue carpet, buttered popcorn smell. You prayed your movie wasn't rented out. If it was, Plan B. If you got the last copy, pure glory. You were the chosen one. Dollar stores had weird gold. Off-brand candy, knockoff toys, and pens that exploded. But you always walked out with a bag full of stuff. Stretchy skeletons, Magic Grow capsules. It didn't have to be good. It was $1. Everyone had a friend with a satellite dish. Not the small kind. The giant backyard UFO that pulled in 500 channels, and maybe a few from outer space. You went to their house to watch wrestling and weird cartoons no one else had. Public pools smelled like summer and chlorine. You ran on slippery cement, got yelled at by a lifeguard, and begged for a popsicle on the way home. Your skin smelled like sunscreen, and your towel always had one weird leaf stuck in it. Slamming the phone was therapy. You didn't just hang up, you ended it. That plastic receiver hit the cradle like thunder. If someone pissed you off, the whole room knew it. Try doing that with a touchscreen. Not the same. Not even close. You had a towel you weren't allowed to use. It was decorative. It was embroidered. It hung perfectly on the rack and never moved. Guests could use it. You could not touch it. And if you did, Mom lost her mind. It was a towel for looking, not for drying. You had an emergency stash of quarters. Laundry, payphones, vending machines. Life ran on quarters. You kept a pile in the car, some in your coat pocket, maybe a film canister full. And if someone asked to borrow one, you did mental math to see if you could still do laundry and get a soda. It was strategic. Your home phone had a ringer-off switch, and no one touched it. You didn't silence phones back then. If the phone rang, you answered. Period. If the switch got flipped, you missed 3 calls and someone came to your door asking if you were alive. Clocks blinked 12 o'clock forever. Every VCR in America had that flashing green 12 o'clock because nobody wanted to set it. You pressed buttons randomly, gave up, and threw a dish towel over it. Power outage, back to blinking. It wasn't broken. It was just the default state of every household in the 90s. You had a family camcorder the size of a shoebox. It sat on Dad's shoulder like a bazooka. Birthdays, graduations, your school play, all captured in shaky footage and muffled audio. Batteries lasted 10 minutes. Tapes ran out at the worst time, but it was magic. Every kid tried to copy the cool S. Nobody knew where it came from, but every notebook had it. 6 lines, connect the dots, instant masterpiece. It wasn't gang-related. It was just cool. And if you added 3D shading, you were basically an artist. Fridges were covered in clip magnets and coupons. Pizza deals, dentist appointments, maybe a dry cleaning tag from '93. The magnets were giveaways from plumbers, pizza joints, and that one real estate guy with the mustache. If it stuck, it stayed. The milk carton kid haunted your breakfast. You'd sit at the table eating cereal and stare at the missing child printed on the side of the milk carton. You didn't know what to feel. Sad, scared, curious. You just hoped your face never ended up there. And then you flipped it around to read the fun facts. You used your TV like a piece of furniture. Big wooden frame, fake drawers, and it weighed more than a washing machine. If you wanted to move it, you called friends. If something fell behind it, gone forever. It wasn't just a screen. It was the centerpiece of the room, like an altar for sitcom worship. You decorated your locker like it was your first apartment. Mirrors, magnets, mini whiteboards, and photos cut from teen people. Some even had carpet or shelves. Your locker was your sanctuary. It held your books, your secrets, and your leftover granola bar from last semester. You learned patience from dial-up. You clicked connect, heard the screeching modem sound, and waited. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes your sibling picked up the phone and killed it. If you finally made it online, you had 10 minutes before Mom said, "I need to make a call," and then it was gone. Every kid had a drawer full of batteries. You'd dig through old remotes and leaky flashlights just to power your Game Boy. Some worked, some didn't. You'd spin them, switch ends, or slap them against your palm, hoping for one more life in Tetris. Everyone had a weird neighbor with a trampoline. No one knew how they afforded it. The yard was a mess, but that trampoline, glorious. You took turns bouncing, did flips you had no business doing, and always ignored the one-at-a-time rule. If you didn't fall off once, you weren't doing it right. You put plastic on your furniture, especially Grandma's couch. It crinkled when you sat, stuck to your legs in summer, and somehow stayed brand new forever. It was like shrink wrapping your memories. Comfortable? Not at all. But it meant, don't ruin this, which made you feel like that couch belonged in a museum. Pizza Hut was a whole event. Checkerboard tables, stained glass lights, red plastic cups. You read books just to earn a free personal pan pizza. You didn't just eat, you dined. That little paper certificate meant you were a scholar with good taste. School desks had names carved from generations past. Underneath your history book, you found Becca plus James 92, scratched in with a compass. You added your initials too, not realizing you just joined the Hall of Fame. That desk had more layers than your yearbook. You wrote in gel pens that smelled like fruit. Strawberry pink, blueberry blue, lime green. Your notes looked like a candy aisle. The ink smeared instantly, stained your hands, and dried up after 2 weeks. But for that brief shining window, your math homework smelled amazing. Your TV antenna had tin foil on it. Sometimes the signal went fuzzy, and the fix was aluminum foil. Wrap it around the rabbit ears. Twist it just right and boom. Clear picture. Maybe. You never knew if it actually worked, but your dad swore by it. Don't touch it now. It's perfect. Every grocery store had a coin-operated horse. Cost a quarter, lasted maybe 30 seconds, rocked like a broken washing machine. But if your parents said yes, You felt like a cowboy in front of the frozen peas. Even if your feet barely touched the stirrups, you were in charge. A computer lab felt like the future. Rows of beige monitors, glowing green screens, and floppy disks you weren't supposed to bend. You typed Oregon Trail faster than your name, tried to keep everyone from dying of dysentery, and printed your report on that noisy dot matrix printer with holes on the sides. Home videos were a production. Your dad hauled out a camcorder the size of a toaster oven. You were told to act natural, which meant you froze like a deer. Birthdays, school plays, that one time someone fell off a swing. All immortalized on tapes nobody ever labeled. The world felt a little slower in a good way. You didn't check your phone every 10 seconds. You didn't rush through dinner. You sat. You talked. You let moments linger. Sure, everything took longer, but somehow that gave it weight. Life didn't fly by. You actually lived it.